Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning. This is Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker, and it's an honor to join you virtually, although I'd love to be in person, to celebrate the 31st Annual Firefighter of the Year Awards. Across our Commonwealth and across our country, we've asked a lot of our public safety professionals over the last year. But day after day, they showed up time and time again to do their jobs and keep us safe. The brave men and women who run into burning buildings, jump into icy waters, pull people from burning cars, and provide emergency medical help to those in need had their hands full in 2020. Firefighters are always on the front line helping others throughout this pandemic. They've responded to every call, not knowing what they would face when they arrived on the scene and whether or not they would be exposed to COVID-19. Our administration's been proud to support firefighters with initiatives including a 5-year commitment to a fire equipment grant, investments in fire training, support for grants for community education to prevent fires, and the recently signed flame retardant bill. The Firefighter of the Year Awards ceremony is one of our favorite events to attend each year because we get to say thank you personally to the firefighters of the Commonwealth. Well, Lieutenant Governor Polito and I both wish we could be with you in person this year. We're still glad to have this opportunity to join you virtually and show our appreciation across the Commonwealth for all you've done. Although so many firefighters refuse to take credit for their work, humbly pointing to their duty and the efforts of their colleagues, today's an important chance for us to recognize your acts, especially those in such a horrible, difficult year as 2020 has been for us all. And obviously this includes Lieutenant Jason Menard, and to his family and members of the Worcester Fire Department, all we can say is you've suffered a loss that no one can understand or make whole. Lieutenant Menard left behind children, a wife, and his sisters and brothers in the fire department when he gave his life to save a fellow firefighter before becoming trapped himself. To Tina and your family, we can never say thank you enough for all that you've sacrificed, and nonetheless, today's event is an important opportunity to honor the memory and legacy of Lieutenant Menard. This year, obviously, has been a terrible challenge for everybody. We certainly hope the arrival of the vaccine means that our darkest days are behind us. And because of that, we look forward to the opportunity to join you all next year in person to be able to shake hands, smile, and recognize our heroes together with all the applause in that big room in Worcester that they deserve. I want to thank you once again for your bravery, for your work, for your collaboration, and especially for your spirit during this very dark and difficult year. And with that, I'll turn it over to Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito. Thank you and God bless.
Hello, everyone. This is Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito, and it is an honor to join each and every one of you for the Firefighter of the Year Awards ceremony. Now, Governor Baker and I look forward to this event every year. It's usually held at Mechanics Hall, which is a glorious room, to celebrate and honor the work of a firefighter in our Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is very different, but this virtual ceremony does not take away the valor and honor and incredible service of the men and women who serve the people of our Commonwealth as firefighters and their families. I want to first start by congratulating the individuals and departments for going above and beyond for your exemplary service that you are being commended for today. We appreciate you and we thank you, and these honors are so deserved and earned. I also wish to thank your families, because it is you as an individual that has this amazing ability to serve in these roles. And it's your family at home that supports you in doing so. They sacrifice as well. I want to just recognize especially the Menard family of Worcester. And as you know, Worcester being my home area, we've had more than our share of loss associated with the fire service. We will always remember those who've perished. And this year, you have a special honor to bestow upon Lieutenant Jason Menard. I will never forget touring that building after the fire in Worcester. And I will always cherish the time when visiting Tina and her children at her home. This family is spotlighted today because they show what a firefighter family is all about. It's about service, it's about dedication, it's about courage and bravery, it's about selflessness. That's what Lieutenant Jason Menard will always be remembered for. And for that, we will always remember you, Tina, and your beautiful children, your daughters and your son, for your support to Jason in his pursuit of serving the people of this Commonwealth. I also want to thank all of the members of the fire service, longtime veterans and new ones coming into these departments, especially with what you've endured over this past year. None of us signed up to have to work through a pandemic. Everyone has been impacted. But when we talk about first responders, that is you, members of our fire service, who answer the call no matter when it comes, no matter where it takes you. And that, coupled with having to manage through a pandemic and seeing people become very sick because of COVID, we want to thank you for answering those calls and always being there for everyone. You are clearly our stars. You are amazing people. You are our heroes. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I thank you from my family to yours for your love and support to your community and to this Commonwealth. God bless you all.
Our first recipients today will receive the Norman Knight Excellence in Community Service Award. In March of 2020, a team of Hanover firefighters recognized the need to deliver COVID-19 testing directly to Hanover's most vulnerable residents and developed a mobile integrated health program to accomplish it. As the pandemic was still emerging, this group of firefighters developed a mobile testing concept in collaboration with several other departments in their town, obtaining the training necessary to conduct testing, applied successfully for a grant that provided equipment needed to deliver testing, and received a license to conduct the program from the Department of Public Health. Testing began on April 14th, and by the end of June, the team had tested over 100 patients. In September, the program expanded to include testing of school teachers and staff, as well as symptomatic students. By the end of September, over 1,000 tests had been conducted. While the COVID-19 outbreak within the fire department caused significant illness and absence at one point during this time period, a sense of duty and service led them to press ahead with this important work as soon as it was safe to do so. For developing and leading this innovative, proactive, and selfless initiative, the Commonwealth is pleased to present Deputy Chief Jason Cavallaro, Captain Fred Freeman, Firefighter-Paramedic Shane Blakeman, Firefighter-Paramedic Joseph Centeo, Firefighter-Paramedic Joseph Pasella, Firefighter-Paramedic Sebastian Rivas, Firefighter-Paramedic Richard Salvucci, and Firefighter-Paramedic Kyle Stetler with this year's Norman Knight Excellence in Community Service Group Award. We will now present citations for meritorious conduct. On New Year's Eve, 2019, at approximately 10:40 p.m., the Hanson Fire Department was called to respond to two individuals who were in the water on an open section of Makwan Pond, which was partially covered in ice. When they arrived, they heard the victims shouting and learned that they had fallen out of a kayak about 10 minutes prior. The victims were clinging to the ice edge about 100 yards from shore, but unable to get out of the water and onto the ice. Firefighter Gary Summers and firefighter Thomas White donned rescue suits and began to traverse the ice towards the victims, while Chief Jerome Thompson Jr. and firefighter Timothy Royer launched a rescue boat. Unfortunately, the ice was too thick for the rescue boat, but too thin to hold the weight of firefighters Summers and firefighter White. As the victims relayed that they could not hold on any longer and were going to slip underwater, firefighter Summers and firefighter White began to aggressively break the ice with their elbows to create a path to the victims. With only seconds to spare, they reached the victims, securing the first to the rescue sled and grabbing the second, who had just slipped below the water, by hand. The two rescuers and two victims were pulled to shore by Lieutenant Wilson and 4 members of the Hanson Police Department who had arrived to assist. For this extraordinary performance in extremely challenging conditions, the Commonwealth presents Chief Jerome A. Thompson, Jr., Lieutenant Keith Wilson, firefighter Timothy Royer, firefighter Gary Summers, and firefighter Thomas White with this year's Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. At 3 a.m. on March 19, 2020, the Attleboro Fire Department was called to a fire in a 3-story residential structure with 1 victim trapped on the 2nd floor. Using directions provided by dispatch, the crew of Ladder 1 was able to locate the victim immediately upon arrival. The man was in immediate danger due to heavy smoke, but they acted quickly to raise the ladder and remove him from the structure to safety. For their swift action, which put their own lives at risk in a rapidly growing fire, the Commonwealth presents Captain David Hardman, firefighter Carl Avero, and firefighter Brian Sweeney with this year's Governor's Group Citation for meritorious conduct. On February 24, 2020, at 3:30 a.m., the Reading Fire Department was dispatched to a fire in a 12-unit apartment building. Immediately upon arrival, Captain Dwyer began evacuating the building. Firefighter McCarthy and firefighter Dalton began a transitional attack on the fire, and firefighter Bagby and firefighter DeBay entered the 3rd-floor apartment with a hand line. They found one bedroom fully involved and the entire apartment filled with smoke. They immediately located an unconscious man and moved him to the hallway with the assistance of Captain Dwyer. At this time, Lieutenant Mayette and firefighter paramedic Loftus and firefighter Roach arrived at the 3rd-floor landing. Lieutenant Mayette and firefighter Bagby re-entered the apartment and found an unconscious woman. They carried her down the stairs and found she was in cardiac arrest. Firefighter Bagby began CPR, while Lieutenant Mayette returned to the 3rd floor with a Stokes basket. There, firefighter Beck, firefighter paramedic Loftus, firefighter Forsey, and firefighter Roach carried the man down the stairs, after which firefighter Loftus, firefighter DeBay, and firefighter Bagby took over treatment and transported him to Leahy Hospital and Medical Center. A mutual aid ambulance transported the woman to the hospital shortly afterwards. While the male victim survived and was released from the hospital after 14 days of intensive care, the female victim passed away 2 days later. As a result of a tremendous display of teamwork, tactical expertise, selflessness, bravery, and physical conditioning, the Commonwealth presents Captain Mark Dwyer, Lieutenant Scott Mayette, firefighter Eric Bagby, firefighter Robert Beck, firefighter Paul Dalton, firefighter Stephen DeBay, firefighter Robert Forsey, firefighter paramedic Derek Loftus, firefighter Thomas McCarthy, and firefighter Brian Roach with this year's Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. Shortly after 9 a.m. on October 24, 2019, the Fitchburg Fire Department was dispatched to a call for smoke in a 3-story residential structure on Holton Street. Upon arrival, they found heavy smoke venting from the 2nd-story windows and a frightened woman trapped on the 3rd floor. While 2 members of Engine 4 brought a hose line to the seat of the fire on the 2nd floor, a 3rd climbed a ladder that had been put in place by nearby contractors to the 3rd floor window, from which the trapped victim could be heard yelling. As the window that the woman needed to exit was very small, 2 firefighters from Tower Ladder 3 climbed a 2nd ladder and entered an adjoining room in the 3rd floor apartment. From there, they battled through heavy smoke to locate the woman and assist her out of the window, where she was helped down the ladder by the waiting member of Engine 4. A 2nd hose line brought to the 3rd floor apartment by the Rescue 3 crew held the fire back long enough for the woman to be rescued successfully. For their exceptional demonstration of teamwork, bravery, and tactical expertise in the successful rescue of this victim, the Commonwealth presents Chief Anthony Marama, Captain Chad Courtmarsh, Lieutenant Andrew Roy, Firefighter Jeffrey Boudreau, Firefighter Kenneth Holmes, Firefighter Skylar Kozlowski, Firefighter Dean Osgood, Firefighter Christy Pappas, Firefighter Michael Pollock, Firefighter Yona Vaughn, and Firefighter Bill Vautour with this year's Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. At 2:45 on December 28, 2019, the Chicopee Fire Department was requested to assist with a search for 2 missing children. The parents of the children provided firefighters with a social media video the children had posted just before they went missing, showing that they were on the ice above the Chicopee River. Captain Peter Jarusik was able to use landmarks in the video to approximate the location it was taken, and soon after identified a coinciding break in the ice shelf in the same area. As this information was being developed, firefighter Stephen Willett and firefighter Zachary Pirog were already searching the shoreline. Lieutenant Daniel Sousa and firefighter Stephen Lauren were donning rescue suits, and Lieutenant Nicholas Lacasse, firefighter Donald Gray, and firefighter John Fisher were launching a rescue boat. Despite tenuous ice conditions and dangerous moving water beneath them, Lieutenant Sousa and firefighter Lauren carefully pushed out towards the suspected entry point at the edge of the ice shelf. Lieutenant Sousa reached the edge and entered the water, battling the current and avoiding entanglement in numerous tree limbs to search a 10-foot deep area. He was able to locate the first victim quickly and transferred the child to the crew on the rescue boat. The boat crew immediately began CPR on the child while speeding back to an awaiting ambulance at the boat ramp. Due to river conditions, Lieutenant Lacasse had to exit the boat and enter the freezing water on several occasions to push it through sandbars to return to the boat ramp. The search for the second child continued at a torrid pace throughout the rest of the day, with members rotating through time in the water looking for him. Unfortunately, the first victim passed away at the hospital the following day, and the second was recovered from beneath the ice by divers several days later. For their bravery and extraordinary sustained effort in the face of such dangerous and challenging conditions, the Commonwealth presents Deputy Chief Wayne LeMay, Captain Peter Jarusik, Lieutenant Nicholas Lacasse, Lieutenant Daniel Sousa, Firefighter John Fisher, Firefighter Donald Gray, Firefighter Stephen Lauren, Firefighter Zachary Pirog, and Firefighter Stefan Willett with this year's Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. Just after 2:30 a.m. on August 24, 2019, the Attleboro Fire Department was dispatched to a fire involving an overturned vehicle with an individual entrapped on South Main Street. They arrived to find the vehicle on its side, against a concrete wall and fully involved in fire. With no time to spare, Engine 5 began fighting the fire. Ladder 1 stabilized and ventilated the vehicle, while Rescue 1 began providing medical care to the unconscious and critically injured patient. After extinguishing the fire, the group was able to remove the windshield, cut the roof off the vehicle, and extricate the victim to an awaiting ambulance. From the time the call was received to the time the victim was loaded into the ambulance was just 16 minutes. For their outstanding effort, teamwork, and efficiency in executing a dangerous and complex rescue, the Commonwealth presents Deputy Chief Dennis Perkins, Lieutenant Timothy Infante, Lieutenant Bruce Tondreau, Firefighter Marcio Barcelos, Firefighter Paramedic Ryan Bilawa, Firefighter Brian Dubuque, Firefighter Paramedic Cameron Eames, Firefighter Paramedic Matthew Ethier, Firefighter Paramedic Justin Jackson, Firefighter Russell Sanford, Firefighter Brian Sweeney, and Firefighter Paramedic Nicholas Walker with this year's Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. Late in the afternoon on December 28, 2019, a driver on Route 95 in New Bedford reported seeing a fire in a two-family home. Upon arrival, firefighters found that the flames were already burning out of control, with fire venting from windows on 3 sides of the second-story apartment. Neighbors quickly alerted firefighters that an elderly man was trapped in the second story. Lieutenant Michael Dillon and firefighter Stephen Mareo immediately advanced a hand line to the front door of the second-floor apartment, while Lieutenant Robert Ferreira, firefighter Joshua Charbonneau, and firefighter Robert Kirby from Ladder 8 rushed to begin search and rescue operations. Despite encountering heavy fire conditions, they advanced further into the apartment and located the man, who was extricated from the building and delivered to waiting EMS. Though in cardiac arrest, when rescued, the elderly man was resuscitated by paramedics but later succumbed to his injuries. Captain Kurt Houghton, commanding the first fire of his career, led and coordinated this challenging but well-executed rescue. For their exceptional, brave, and effective actions in such difficult conditions, the Commonwealth presents Captain Kurt Houghton, Lieutenant Michael Dillon, Lieutenant Robert Ferreira, Firefighter Joshua Charbonneau, Firefighter Robert Kirby, and Firefighter Stephen Mareo with this year's Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. Just after midnight on May 20th, 2020, Engine 7 and Engine 9 of the New Bedford Fire Department responded to a structure fire in a 2-story multifamily dwelling. Upon arrival, they were informed that a single occupant was trapped on the first floor. Lieutenant Derek DaCosta and firefighter Richard McHugh initiated an interior attack on the fire, while Lieutenant Antonio Miraglia and firefighter Matthew Perry began searching for the victim. They located a female victim near the rear door of the apartment, suffering from significant second-degree burns and severe smoke inhalation. Lieutenant Miraglia and firefighter Perry removed her from the apartment and immediately initiated CPR before her care was transitioned to New Bedford EMS paramedics. Paramedics were able to reestablish spontaneous circulation before delivering her to the hospital, and the victim later made a full recovery. For their quick and tactically sound rescue efforts, which prevented this fire from causing a fatality, the Commonwealth presents Lieutenant Derek DaCosta, Lieutenant Antonio Miraglia, firefighter Richard McHugh, and firefighter Matthew Perry with this year's Governor's Group Citation for Meritorious Conduct. Just after midnight on January 2nd, 2020, the Rockland Fire Department received multiple calls for a residential building fire on East Water Street. With half of the 6-person shift of firefighters unavailable due to a separate medical call, just Captain Jason Fricker, firefighter Michael Tracy, and firefighter Richard Furlong were able to respond. They found a 3-story building showing smoke, with interior conditions rapidly deteriorating. Captain Fricker and firefighter Tracy entered the building and encountered heavy smoke at the second-floor landing. As they were about to enter the second-floor apartment where the fire was heaviest, they heard a moaning victim above them. Firefighter Tracy ascended the stairs and found a victim who had just become unconscious. With Captain Fricker holding back the fire to preserve an escape route, firefighter Tracy was able to extricate the woman down the stairs to the entry landing, where firefighter Furlong and Rockland police officers initiated oxygen delivery and other emergency medical care. Though exhausted from the rescue, Captain Fricker and firefighter Tracy immediately re-entered the building to search for additional victims. As they again reached the second-floor landing, they encountered impassable smoke and heat conditions and were ordered out of the building by the fire chief who had just arrived. The fire eventually reached 5 alarms and displaced 20 residents, but all survived. The victim rescued by Captain Fricker and firefighter Tracy was discharged from the hospital within hours and made a full recovery. For his critical role in this rescue, serving as the pump operator and for assisting the victim as she regained consciousness, the Commonwealth presents firefighter Richard Furlong with this year's Governor's Citation for Meritorious Conduct. For saving this victim, despite facing tremendous heat conditions and having limited personnel, the Commonwealth is pleased to present Captain Jason Fricker and firefighter Michael Tracy with this year's Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. On the afternoon of October 2nd, 2019, Lieutenant Kevin Cormier and firefighter Christopher Mount of the New Bedford Fire Department responded to a fire on Coffin Avenue. As the first arriving personnel, they observed a working fire in a 3-family dwelling. Recognizing that there was no time to wait for more help to arrive, they began a search of the building, despite not having a hose line available. Upon reaching the 3rd floor, they overcame heavy smoke and fire conditions to rescue an elderly woman who was still conscious, but trapped in the building. As they were carrying the woman down the stairs to safety, she was passed off to an arriving engine crew, while Lieutenant Cormier and firefighter Mount ascended to the 3rd floor again to extinguish the fire. Unfortunately, the elderly woman succumbed to her injuries the following day at the hospital. For their heroic actions, which put themselves at great risk in an effort to save a life, the Commonwealth is pleased to present Lieutenant Kevin Cormier and firefighter Christopher Mount with this year's Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. At 5:40 p.m. on September 22, 2019, the Fitchburg Fire Department was dispatched to a fire caused by a series of explosions in a 22-unit condo building on Beekman Street. Upon arrival, they found heavy fire conditions and were alerted by dispatch to a woman who was trapped on the 3rd floor. Upon locating this woman, she exclaimed to firefighters that she was about to jump from the window due to intolerable heat and smoke conditions. The only ladder immediately available was 3 to 4 feet too short and had to be placed several feet to the side of the window due to ground terrain. Recognizing that there was no time to wait for a longer ladder to arrive, firefighter Roger Ortiz began to ascend it towards the victim anyway. Once he reached the window, he was able to persuade the woman to stand on his shoulders while he slowly lowered her down so that her feet could reach the top rung of the ladder. Once her feet were on the ladder, he climbed back up and assisted her down to safety. For this daring rescue, in a display of extraordinary skill, bravery, and determination in putting the safety of the victim ahead of his own, the Commonwealth is pleased to present firefighter Roger Ortiz with this year's Firefighter of the Year Medal of Valor. And now, our final award, the Medal of Honor.
One word, solid. He loved the job. He paid attention to the job. He always wanted to learn the job.
He was a wise guy. He was great at the kitchen table, and he was great on a call and on the truck.
He in particular, every morning we have apparatus daily checks. He would be the guy that would find things wrong.
He was a good firefighter. He was dedicated to his profession. He looked to improve himself all the time.
When he decided to study for a lieutenant, that's what he did. He put his effort into. He was always a participant in everything that we did. Anytime somebody had a baby or whatever, he kind of pulled everything together, bought the cards, bought the flowers, kind of took care of all of us in that way.
First arriving ladder company, Ladder 5, encountered heavy fire conditions on the second floor extending to the third. It was extremely cold. The fire was mostly hidden in the walls. When you combine that with a windy situation, the wind hits it the right way and it just explodes the fire. Additional calls reported a baby trapped on the third floor.
We're on the stairway, third floor here.
I wasn't sure who was in trouble. When I walked up, I found out all the particulars.
Two members of Engine 6 are out of the building. I have Engine 6 all crew out of the building.
Lieutenant Menard heroically and selflessly saved his crew, helping a probationary firefighter to the stairs, and then returning to rescue another trapped firefighter, assisting him out the window.
Jay was the kind of guy that would put others before himself. His actions that night in that fire shows exactly that.
They had a trip booked to Disney World, so he was working his final tour, and then the next morning they were heading out. We all like to think that put in the same position, we would all do what Jay Menard did. We would do the right thing when the time comes.
On November 13, 2019, at approximately 12:58 a.m., the Worcester Fire Department was dispatched to a 3-story residential structure fire at 7 Stockholm Street. The temperature was 12 degrees Fahrenheit, with winds gusting to 40 miles an hour. Upon arrival, firefighters were informed that a mother residing in the third-floor apartment had been able to escape, but her infant remained in the apartment unconscious. Lieutenant Jason Menard, responding as the company officer on Ladder 5, led a primary search of the second and third floors, which was met with negative results. After exiting the building to change air bottles, Lieutenant Menard and 4 fellow firefighters entered the structure again to clear the second and third floor rear exits of debris. As the group ascended the stairwell between the second and third floors, tremendous heat from below trapped them. 3 of the firefighters were able to escape directly through the rising fire and exit the structure, although all received first and second-degree burns. Lieutenant Menard and 1 additional firefighter were trapped above the fire. After initially seeking shelter while awaiting rescue, intolerable heat conditions led the 2 to attempt to escape onto the roof. In the process of this attempt, Lieutenant Menard forced the other firefighter out a third-floor window, saving his life. Ultimately, Lieutenant Menard was unable to get himself out of the building before the heat from the fire overcame him. Lieutenant Menard was hired by the Worcester Fire Department on October 25, 2010, and promoted to lieutenant on October 14, 2018. He passed away on November 13, 2019, at the age of 39, leaving behind his wife Tina and 3 children, Joshua, Haley, and Morgan. In recognition that he sacrificed his own life and demonstrated uncommon bravery by using his final moments to save the life of a fellow firefighter, the Commonwealth presents this year's Firefighter of the Year Medal of Honor posthumously to Lieutenant Jason Menard.
Good morning. The annual Firefighter of the Year Award is historically a large-scale event to thank firefighters and their families for all they do to protect us. Lieutenant Jason Menard was a 10-year member of the Worcester Fire Department. He was a firefighter's firefighter, always there to help his brothers and sisters. Without a doubt, his favorite job was father to his 3 children. He is survived by his wife Tina and their 3 children, Joshua, Haley, and Morgan. It's now my great honor to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Karyn Polito. Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you, Fire Marshal. It's an honor to be here today. Although this is a virtual ceremony, nothing replaces what the fire service does, whether we honor them virtually or we honor them in person. Today's special honor bestowed upon the Menard family is truly fitting. I will always remember joining the Fire Marshal when visiting that 3-family building the following morning after Lieutenant Menard's passing. I will always remember visiting with the governor, the Menard family at their home, built with all of the love and dreams and hopes that any family starting out and having children would include. Today is a day to remember what a firefighter chooses to do. Clearly, a firefighter is someone born with just brave. They're just born that way. They're built in a very different way. And someone like Jason Menard chose this career path with the support of his family. Not only was he brave, he was compassionate, cared a lot about his community and helping people. And what he did on that night was what he signed up to do and what he was truly trained for and truly good at. He saved lives and ultimately saved a brother firefighter. For that, he deserves this honor. And for that, we are eternally grateful for the Jason Menards and for all those who choose the fire service, who get up without question, put on the uniform, answer the call of duty, and go do their jobs. It's now my honor to introduce Governor Baker, who I know in his heart, as a father, cares deeply about this family and the sacrifices that they have made. And I know it is his honor to be here today to bestow upon them this very special honor in Jason's name. Governor Baker.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor and Fire Marshal. It's good to see you. And Tina, it's great to see you and your family here with us today. Firefighters are a special breed, and they swear an oath. And that oath to serve and protect is something that they take profoundly seriously. And in Worcester, during the time that I've been in public service, which dates back to the 90s, I've tragically had an opportunity to witness how seriously the firefighters in Worcester take that oath. You start with the cold storage building, which every firefighter in Worcester knew was a trap, a hazard. And yet the day that building began to burn, without knowing how long it had been burning or what was going on inside it, they all put on their gear, they got on the truck, and they headed into that building. and one of the truly great tragedies in firefighting in Massachusetts history took place that day. Not because they weren't well trained, because they were. Not because they didn't do all the things they were supposed to do, because they did. But they knew that building had problems and would be an issue if something like that ever happened, and they showed up and they went anyway. Jason Menard is a classic example of the history and the talent and the commitment that Worcester firefighters make to this community. The Lieutenant Governor and I have been honored for the past 6 years to have a chance to honor and celebrate in person those men and women who swear this oath to serve and protect us in our communities when bad things happen. And in this particular case, honestly, the story is so astonishing, it almost reads like a cliche. Several members trapped in a building, doing a search, looking for anybody who might still be there. 3 get out, 2 are left. One of the 2 that are left literally puts himself between the fire and the window and pushes his colleague out the window, saving his colleague's life and putting his own in jeopardy, with fatal consequences. The Lieutenant Governor mentioned the fact that we both visited the Menard family at their home. I won't get into the details here, but that was a home that was loved. When you looked at the work that had been done in the backyard, when you looked at the little touches that existed throughout the first floor, this place was special. And it was special because the people who were there loved each other, loved the life they were building, and loved the home that they had created. And sometimes when we talk about this kind of service and this kind of sacrifice, we think about it within the 4 walls of a building like this, or we think about it in the context of the community that was served. But in the end, the greatest sacrifice of all is the one that's made by the family who loses their loved one, not to an injury and not for a week or a month, but forever. And when we have an opportunity like this one today to present to that family the Medal of Honor and to make clear to them how much we understand and appreciate the size and significance of their loss, well, for us, it's the least we can do. And to the Menard family, and to Tina, and to the kids, I hope I never have to give out another one of these awards ever again during my time in public service, because I can't imagine how hard it is for all of you to deal with this. But I must say that I sleep better at night knowing that there are people here in our Commonwealth who swear that oath, believe in that oath, and will be there when called, no matter what. God bless you all. God bless Jason Menard, and thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to benefit from his service to this community and to this Commonwealth. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor and Lieutenant Governor. Today we are honored to have Jason's family with us. I'd like to ask Worcester Fire Chief Michael Lavoie to escort the Menard family up to the podium. For his bravery, selflessness, and commitment, the Commonwealth presents the 2020 Firefighter of the Year Medal of Honor to Lieutenant Jason Menard, posthumously.